It was 1:47 a.m., and the Arizona desert was a black void, swallowing everything but the dim red glow of Jason's pickup truck. Jason, a 29-year-old telecom technician, stood at the base of a 200-foot radio tower, his breath clouding in the frigid night air. His company had sent him to fix a glitch in a remote relay station. Urgent, they said, no details given. The wind howled, rattling the tower's metal rungs, and Jason's flashlight beam barely cut through the darkness. He clipped his harness to the ladder, but a low, eerie hum pulsed through the steel like a heartbeat. He froze, sweeping the light across the empty sand and scrub. Just the wind, he muttered, but his gut churned with unease. Night shifts weren't new to Jason, but this place felt off. No cell service, no lights for miles, just him and the tower in a dead zone. His only lifeline was the company radio in the truck, its green light blinking faintly. He climbed to the control box, a rusted panel spitting tiny sparks. As he reached for his screwdriver, the radio crackled to life on its own. Unit 7, report. A rough, unfamiliar man's voice sliced through the static. Jason's stomach dropped. He was Unit 12, and no one else was on this shift. He scrambled down, heart pounding, and grabbed the mic. This is Unit 12. Who's this? Silence. Then, you shouldn't be here. The voice was closer now, almost inside the truck. Jason's eyes darted to the desert. Nothing but shadows and dry brush. He hit the mic again. Identify yourself now. Static roared, and beneath it, a faint whisper. Run. He yanked the radio's power cord, but the hum from the tower grew louder, throbbing in his ears. His flashlight flickered, then died. In the pitch black, a soft crunch echoed. Footsteps on gravel, circling the truck. Jason locked the doors, hands trembling. He fumbled for a spare flashlight, its beam catching the control box above. The panel hung open, wires dangling like they'd been ripped apart. He hadn't touched them. This isn't real, he whispered, but the footsteps stopped. Silence. Then, a sharp tap 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 on the truck's window. He spun around, light sweeping the glass. No one, just his own terrified face staring back. But on the ground outside, fresh boot prints marked the sand, leading nowhere. The truck's engine wouldn't start. The radio, unplugged, sparked back to life. They didn't tell you, did they? The voice was calm now, almost taunting. Jason's mind reeled. Who? His bosses? He'd worked for the company 5 years. Never heard of Unit 7. He steadied his breathing and opened his toolkit for something solid. In a side pocket, he found a crumpled note he hadn't seen before, scrawled in pencil. Don't trust the signal. Check the log. A chill ran through him. The tower had a maintenance log in the control box, listing every tech who'd worked there. He didn't want to climb again, not with those footprints, but he had to know. He bolted from the truck, flashlight shaking, and scaled the ladder faster than ever. The hum was deafening now, vibrating in his chest. He tore open the logbook, its pages yellowed and tattered. Names, dates, routine fixes, until 5 years ago. The last entry, Unit 7, signal interference. Source unknown, do not return. Below it in red ink, missing. His throat tightened. Missing? The company never mentioned a missing tech. He flipped back, finding more Unit 7 entries, all from the same year, all noting the interference. The final note was barely legible. It's not the tower. It's them. His flashlight caught a scratched metal tag bolted to the box, engraved with initials, TL. Not his, not anyone he knew. The radio screamed from below, a burst of static and garbled voices. Jason, you found it. His name, not Unit 12, Jason. He dropped the log, nearly slipping off the ladder. How did they know? He climbed down, legs like jelly, and ran to the truck. The radio was alive, spitting fragments of old transmissions. Text reporting glitches, static, voices. One voice, clear as day. They're out there. Don't look. It was the same raspy voice from before. Jason's eyes locked on the desert. In the distance, where the sand met the horizon, a faint light flickered. Not a star, not a car. It moved, slow and deliberate, toward the tower. His mouth went dry. He grabbed his phone. No signal, but the camera worked. He zoomed in, hands trembling. The light was a figure, humanoid, holding something faintly glowing. Details were blurry, but it was getting closer. Panic surged. Jason dug through his tools, finding an emergency flare gun. He fired it into the sky, the red glow lighting up the desert. For a split second, he saw them. 3 figures, standing just beyond the truck, motionless. No faces, no features, just shapes in the dark. The flare died, and they vanished. The radio went silent. The hum stopped. The desert was still, as if nothing had happened. Jason didn't wait. He hot-wired the truck, praying it would start. The engine roared, and he floored it, tires spitting gravel. He didn't look back, didn't stop until he reached a gas station 40 miles away. The clerk, an old man with weary eyes, saw Jason's face and asked, "You okay, kid?" Jason could barely speak. "The tower, on Route 17. You know it." The clerk's face hardened. "Ain't no tower on Route 17. They tore it down 5 years ago." Jason's stomach plummeted. He pulled out his phone, hands still shaking, and checked the photos. The shots of the tower, the log, the boot prints, all gone. Every frame was blank except one, a blurry image of the desert with a single glowing dot in the distance. Jason quit that job and never went back. Months later, a package arrived at his apartment. No return address. Inside was a rusted metal tag. Engraved with TL taped to it was a note. "They're still listening." He burned it, but every night, when the house is quiet, he swears he hears it, a faint hum, just beneath the silence. It was 4 p.m., and the Ohio sun was sinking, casting an orange glow over the empty lot. Claire, a 27-year-old documentary photographer, adjusted her camera on its tripod, staring at a patch of overgrown weeds and broken stones. Her project was about abandoned places, spots time seemed to forget. This lot, on the outskirts of a small town, was once the site of an old house, torn down a decade ago. Claire had read in an online forum that locals avoided it, claiming it had a bad feeling. She smirked under her breath. Bad feeling? It's just an empty field. But when a cold breeze swept through the grass, her skin prickled. Claire was alone. The nearest house was a mile away, and no cars passed on the dirt road. She grabbed her camera and started shooting. Yellowed weeds, chunks of brick, a rusted fence at the lot's edge. Under a bush, something metallic glinted. She brushed the dirt aside and found an old photo frame, its glass cracked. Inside was a black and white picture, a man and woman, maybe 30, with stiff smiles. Scrawled on the back in blue ink, Mary and John, 2008. Claire frowned. Why was this here? She set the camera down and searched for more. Beneath a flat stone, she found a rusted metal box, its lock broken, as if buried for years. Inside were yellowed papers and a small notebook with a cloth cover. Claire opened it. The handwriting was shaky, rushed. "They know what happened. They won't let me talk." Her pulse quickened. Another page. "John's guilty. I just wanted to help." She snapped the notebook shut. Was this a prank? Or real? The sky darkened. Claire felt a shift, like eyes on her. She glanced around, but the lot was empty. Just crickets and the wind's low moan. She grabbed her camera and took more shots, but when she checked the images, her breath caught. In one frame, a blurry shadow stood behind the fence, human-shaped but unclear. The next photo was blank. "Camera's glitching," she muttered, but her hands trembled. She decided to read the box's papers. Most were old receipts, but one was a handwritten letter. "Mary, if you talk, it's over. Stay quiet." No signature. Claire's stomach twisted. This wasn't just an abandoned lot. She headed to her truck, a beat-up rental parked across the road. When she got there, her heart stopped. The driver's side door was open. She'd locked it. On the seat was a fresh print from her camera, taken minutes ago. It showed Claire, bent over the metal box, and behind her, that same blurry shadow by the fence. She screamed, throwing the photo. She ran her camera, still on its tripod, and checked the memory card. Every image was gone, except that one with the shadow. Someone was here. A rustle came from behind the fence. Claire swung her flashlight. A man, maybe 50, in a worn coat and wide-brimmed hat, stood on the other side, staring. "Who are you? What do you want?" Claire shouted. He didn't blink, just said softly, "You shouldn't have come here, girl." His voice was ice, a threat. Claire backed away, but he stepped forward, crossing through the fence. She sprinted to the truck, jumped in, and floored it. In the rearview mirror, he stood still, watching. That night, Claire returned to town and told the police everything. They searched the lot but found nothing. No box, no frame, no notebook. Probably a prank, they said, but Claire knew better. Days later, she searched online and found an old article. In 2010, a couple named Mary and John vanished from a house on that lot. The police never found their bodies, assuming they'd fled. One line chilled Claire. A local reported seeing someone behind the house's fence the night before they disappeared. Claire sold her camera and swore off photography. A week later, an anonymous email arrived. No sender. It contained a 3-second audio clip. That same raspy voice from the lot, whispering, "Talk, and I'll find you." Attached was a photo. The blurry shadow, now behind her apartment window, with the lot's rusted fence faintly visible in the background. The next morning, as she packed to leave, she found a cracked photo frame on her kitchen table. The same picture of Mary and John, with a note taped to it. "They're still here." Claire fled town that day, but every night, when she checks her windows, she hears it. The faint rustle of the empty lot's weeds echoing in her mind. It was 10 p.m., and the Oregon forest was drowning in thick darkness. Rachel, a 25-year-old rookie ranger, patrolled the Gray Ridge National Park, her flashlight cutting through the fog. She'd only been on the job a month, and night shifts still felt heavy. The wind howled through the pines, and the crunch of leaves under her boots was the only sound breaking the silence. Her radio sat in her pocket, but signal was spotty in this part of the park. Just one more loop, then back to the cabin. Rachel muttered, but a sharp snap, like a branch breaking, stopped her cold. She swung her flashlight. Nothing, just long shadows of pines swaying in the mist. Probably a deer, she thought, but her heart raced. She kept walking, and a few steps later, she saw it. A fresh boot print in the soft dirt, clear as day. Odd. The park closed at 6 p.m., and no one should be here. Rachel crouched, studying it. Not one print, several a trail, but they ended abruptly, mid-path, with no broken twigs or trampled leaves. Just gone. Holding her breath, she grabbed her radio. "Base, this is Rachel. Found tracks in Sector 4. Any reports?" Static hissed back. The fog thickened, and a prickle ran down her neck like eyes on her. She scanned the trees. Empty. Taking a step back, her boot caught on something. A torn scrap of gray fabric snagged on a bush. It had dark stains that looked like dried blood in the light. Rachel's stomach churned. This wasn't right. She bolted toward the ranger cabin, a small shack a mile away. Every few steps, she felt it. Something behind her. A soft scrape, like footsteps trailing at a distance. She spun around. Nothing but fog and trees. At the cabin, the door was locked, as she'd left it. But as she turned the key, a faint clink came from inside, like something dropped. Rachel drew her pocket knife and pushed the door open. Who's there? The cabin was empty. Table, radio, park map, all in place. But on the floor, another muddy boot print, identical to the ones outside, stretched from the door to the window. The window was open, its curtain fluttering. Rachel was certain she closed it. She tried the radio again, static. Fear gripped her. She shone her flashlight into the forest. For a split second, a shadow, human-shaped, darted between the trees. Rachel locked the door, her breath ragged. She checked the park map for escape routes. A red mark caught her eye, one she hadn't seen before. A circle around the cabin, with a line trailing to a spot in the woods. Scrawled beside it, "Tonight." Her heart stopped. Who wrote this? The cabin was hers alone. A soft tap-tap came from the window. She swung her light. Nothing, but the glass was fogged, as if someone had breathed on it from outside. She wiped it, and behind the glass, a pair of eyes stared back, unblinking in the mist. Rachel screamed and stumbled back. When she looked again, they were gone. She couldn't wait. Knife in hand, she ran outside toward the Ranger Jeep. But when she got there, the tires were slashed, clean cuts, deliberate. A rustle came from the forest, closer now. Rachel sprinted down a trail toward the main road, lungs burning. She spotted an old emergency shelter, a derelict cabin, and dove inside, barring the door. In the dark, footsteps circled outside, slow and measured. Rachel held her breath. The steps paused, then a whisper, a man's voice right outside the door. "Rachel, you're ours tonight." She gripped her knife, bracing the door with her shoulder. The whisper stopped, and the forest went silent. She stayed there until dawn, eyes locked on the door. At sunrise, she stepped out. No tracks, no fabric, nothing. She made it back to base and reported everything. Her colleagues chalked it up to stress, but Rachel found an old report in the archives. 7 years ago, a ranger vanished in Gray Ridge. The report noted boot prints that led nowhere. One line froze her. A witness claimed they heard their name called in the woods. Rachel quit and left Oregon. She lives in a new city now, locking her doors tight. But every night, the silence feels alive. In the quiet, she hears it. A faint rustle of leaves, like footsteps trailing through fog. Worse, when she peers out her window, she feels them. Eyes watching from the mist, cold and unyielding. Each night, they're closer, their gaze sharper, as if the fog itself is coming for her. Did eyes in the fog leave you checking your windows? If Rachel's terror had your heart racing, smash that like button to fuel more nightmares. Subscribe and hit the bell to never miss a true horror story that'll keep you up at night. We're diving deeper into the shadows every week, unearthing tales that haunt. Got a creepy experience of your own? Share in the comments. Something's watching. Join the darkness if you got the guts.